Hello everyone, Derek Stam Toys, and we are back with another action figure review, and I am really excited to get this one in hand as we've got the Elite Series 112 Bray Wyatt. I almost said Elite Series 12, that would have been kind of nutty, huh? Elite Series 12. Oh, and my camera kind of glitched out there a little bit. I don't know if you'll notice that in the video or not. But of course, you look at all the figgies on the back, we have every one of them but the Becky Lynch. I saw the chase where I got this at. The price was a little ridiculous, I can't lie, but honestly, for one of the few Bray Wyatt figures to come out since his passing, I am definitely stoked to have this in hand. I want to say this is supposed to be the Bray, if not like a little bit of a fix-up on the Bray that came in the 2-pack with the Matt Hardy that was supposed to come out, and it never did because Matt got released. So that'll actually be kind of neat to get into, and I can't lie, actually kind of neat to say that this is technically the very first Bray Wyatt I've ever found just casually out in the open, out in stores. I've never found any of his other elites, I want to say, out in like the wild, as a lot of people call it. I've always ordered mine online, from the white pants elite to the black pants, and even a lot of the Fiend figures and shit that I own, I ordered them all online because they were always hard to find in stores. I actually had to go to a I guess you could say collectible shop. I don't know exactly how to describe this store, but they do sell wrestling figures every now and again, and they just so happen to have this and a couple of other figures, as I mentioned, the Becky Lynch. And yeah, why don't I shut the hell up and we can get into this Bray Wyatt figure review. Alrighty, you guys, now that we've got the figure out of his plastic prison, we can go over the figure and his accessories, and he does not really come with a whole lot, though he does come with his iconic lantern. We'll get into that a little bit more. And he does come with 2 sets of interchangeable hands, as you can see, the mic holding / weapon holding / lantern holding hands. And then you've got the 2 open hands for when he's doing his pose and he's going, "We're here," and all that stuff. Love that they included those hands, as I don't really recall them including hands that look like that. Of course, just kind of as a little example, because I do got some figures out to do some figure comparison. We got these kind of hands that I have on this Bray Wyatt here. We've got the hurt heel hands that are just kind of like strictly open. Those had the more wider spread fingers, and I feel like that works better for that pose. Maybe it's just me though. Of course, it could just be me. Either way, of course, getting into the lantern itself, it is fairly nice, and also I want to say a bit of a reuse, as it's got the, I want to say, the glow in the dark look, even though I don't know if this glows in the dark or not. Like, I want to say a few of the older lanterns did, but I do love the nice bronzish color on the lantern. As damn, I kind of lost my voice there for a second. As we've got on this lantern, I think this one looks a lot shinier. The bronze just pops a bit more on the new one as compared to this one. And I do have other lanterns too, I'm just not going to pull them out to do a lantern comparison. But with all that being said, we can slide the figures to the side, the accessories to the side, and get into this action figure review. Of course, first things first, we've got this head scan, which I want to say is a bit of a reuse, but the addition of the true effects actually does make this head scan pop a little bit more in the face and in the facial hair and all that stuff. Only thing I'm a little disappointed in is I want to say on the original head scan, some of the dreads and stuff in his hair were actually painted different colors, because I want to say he had like red and white dreadlocks at one point going throughout his hair. But that's not the biggest ordeal. Of course, you've got the nice tattoo deco, as well as you've got his back tattoo. Of course, no neck and or chest tattoo, as this was a earlier time period. This was before the Fiend, technically. At least I'm gonna say, because there was that weird WWE like scary stories video they did around the time I think he was champion, like when he became WWE champion. And he told a story that sounds very similar to The Fiend if you guys have never seen it. And who knows, maybe he predicted that gimmick change all along and we just never knew that's where he personally wanted to take his character. But either way, we'll get into like some of the tattoo details on some of the other figures, but I think on this Bray Wyatt in particular, the tattoo detail is like, it's actually, sorry for my French, I guess I'll say now, it's pretty fucking amazing. And you know, normally sometimes the tattoo decos don't look all that good, but I think these look fairly fucking like awesome, especially seeing the like sun moonish thing here. I'm gonna say it's a sun because it's orange, and then just all the different blues and oranges and yellows, and then you've got the nice little blue spot here on the back of his arm, and then the nice streak of red to symbolize the blood in this tattoo, and just some nice phenomenal detailing there. And then we've also got these pants, which I love these pants. Honestly, I kind of wish the custom Bray Wyatt I made used this as its base formula. And I only say it like that because we will get into that here in a moment as far as the custom goes for action figure comparisons and stuff. But I just love the way these pants look, from all the little details, from the like, what is it, the little squid thing that he used to have in his t-shirts, and then he's got a little bit more tentacles and stuff down there. Probably one of my favorite eras of Bray Wyatt, to be honest with you, especially when he was teaming up with Matt Hardy for that little brief period of time. That was some pretty fun Bray Wyatt times, at least I would say, though he may not have enjoyed it as much himself personally. I can't speak for the man, but I love the way his gimmick looked. Of course, I could have said a lot of things about how he probably could have been treated way better way before he ended up passing away. And you know, before I just ramble on, why don't we get into some of these action figure comparisons now? Alrighty, you guys, as you can see, this is all the Bray Wyatt figures I currently have in my collection at the moment. I used to have the ringside exclusive that looked an awfully lot like this one here, but I did end up technically using some of his parts for a custom, and technically the neck peg broke, so that figure ended up kind of becoming a little useless to me. Instead, I ended up getting my custom over here that I technically made myself. And I say technically because the torso cracking probably could have been a little bit better, but man, I'm not a professional torso cracker. But yeah, this is all the Bray Wyatts I currently own. Sadly, had to destroy like 3 Bray Wyatts to create this one. I would love to own the figure that the pants are based off of here. And honestly, if you can't tell, this pants mold and this pants mold are fairly similar, and that's because technically I want to say they are the same pants mold, just different designs and a little bit of different sculpting. But this figure was essentially the base for this figure here. to just kind of explain that all. And then I used a Fiend torso and of course Fiend arms, as you can kind of tell because there's no lantern hand. And I used the Firefly Funhouse ringside exclusive head scan, and I do love this custom because it gives me more of that like last appearance Bray feel. And sadly we still have yet to get a figure that is more of his like just standard self. We've gotten the last match figure finally, which is also an Ultimate Edition, which I have the Ultimate Edition Fiend right there. So of course, one of these days, I gotta get on ringside and pre-order that Bray Wyatt Ultimate Edition. And honestly, one of these days when I, hit the lottery and win $1 million, I gotta go out of my way and search for some of these older Bray Wyatt figures that I don't have anymore, like the white pants elite with the rocking chair. Man, honestly, this Bray Wyatt has brought up a lot of nostalgia, plus given us some nice upgrades in the tattoo work, as I would say his tattoo work, especially comparing it to the Ultimate Edition back here, I'd say the tattoo work looks a lot better. It fills the arm in a lot more, which I feel is way more accurate. And even on my custom, the tattoo work, I just feel is a little, like not a little off, but maybe it was a little too shrunken or whatever. But here on this figure, it actually looks really solid. Maybe it's because the colors pop a bit more or something. I don't know exactly what it is about this new Bray Wyatt Elite, but I am absolutely loving it. I know my buddy Tyler, he said that he had a little bit of concerns when it came to the legs, and I can kind of see I can't say they're like stiff, but they do feel a little odd in hand. And I feel like that's because of the updated articulation technically, because we do get different style ball joints for the legs now. So they're not as buttery smooth in a sense. So that could be making the articulation in the legs feel a bit wonky there. But the knees even being pinless are nice and stiff. They're not going to get too loose on you anytime soon. The boots are the standard old elite boot articulation, especially for pants mold, so you're not going to get much out of that. And of course he is on double jointed arms, so that is always a plus in my book. You've got the wrist articulation, you got the good old ab crunch for Bray Wyatt, which is actually really nice on this figure. I can say that for sure. His waist swivel is actually fairly nice as well. Honestly, overall, this Bray Wyatt figure, I'd say is a really good, solid figure. If I had to rate him highly, I definitely am gonna give this figure a good solid 9.5 out of 10. Just the nostalgia pop for me right now. Unboxing this figure, it brings me back to a good old time when wrestling may not have been the best on TV, but getting some of these guys in figure form was just really interesting, especially going from the era of Jakks and then coming into Mattel and seeing how they used to be, seeing how they are now. It's just a big trip for me, I guess you could say, and kind of a nice trip to have after a long day at work, where I can't lie, kind of had a little bit of a shit morning, but honestly, this gives me joy. Honestly, it really does. And with all that being said, we do technically do the double rating. We don't just do the 1 out of 10. We do the 5-star Meltzer rating because, God forbid any wrestling personnel can do anything without the star rating. Well, WWE does, but you know, WWE is just in its own spectrum, so Dave Meltzer isn't concerned here. But we are going to rate this on the scale of 1 to Young Buck match, the good old 1 to 5 stars. And what would I have to give this? Well, I gave him a good solid 9.5 out of 10. So I think a good solid 4.4, maybe 4.5. We'll stick with the 4.5 out of 5 stars. Just because of how solid this figure is, at least in my hands. For all I know, when you get this in hand, maybe the legs are a little too stiff for your liking, or the legs don't really move all that well, because a lot of the new figures are just fucked on the legs because Mattel's quality control ever since going to Vietnam has been quite a terrible time. But at least not with this Bray Wyatt in particular, and I am so gracefully happy that I was able to unbox this and unbox it without wanting to just like break the figure on purpose, because the legs already felt like they were gonna break, so I might as well actually break it for Mattel. For Mattel, by Mattel. And with all that being said, I think I'm gonna shut up. We can sign out of here. So if you liked the video, feel free to like the video. If you did not like the video, womp womp, I guess. But if you did like the video, feel free to, I don't know, maybe leave a comment if you'd like. I never tend to ask people to want to do that, so you know, maybe this will encourage you. Leave a comment if you want to. And well, go check out some of my other action figure reviews and or action figure content, such as unboxings and or pick fed content. As you can kind of see, I've got a bunch of guys laid out, except for Bronson Reed over here. I can't go too far over here. I might have already, but I can't tease who may have came out to help somebody here in the ladder match. Am I saying too much? I might be, but maybe that'll get you excited for the main event, you see. Anyway, with all that being said, you know, go check out some of the pick fed content. It would do great, not just for the views, but just to, you know, encourage me to want to keep doing that, because the Fed takes a lot. I can't lie, and it's not like I make any money from doing any of this. I just do this out of the joy of doing it. So that comment, that like, and all that stuff, it's kind of a little nice encouragement. But an even bigger encouragement is when you know, maybe go follow me on Instagram and or subscribe here on the YouTube channel. After all, it is free to subscribe here on YouTube. And well, yeah, with all that being said, I don't really have all that much left to say. So on that note, have a good rest of your day, evening, night, whatever the case may be. I don't know, because realistically, I fucked up my outro, but that's okay. And on that note, we are out of here. So deuces, ooses.